Hey guys, Dave and Saxon from DOT.038. Thanks for joining us for our first IGTV video. What was that? Yeah, Saxon's not speaking yet, but he's going to join in. So yeah, we're going to do a quick review on a couple of new items we bought today for our camp setup, and then we're going to use those items to do a bit of a steak cook. Not a popular cook because we like our steak medium to well, which is pretty much against what the purists like. We don't like blood coming out of our steak. We like it well done, don't we, mate? So we're going to show you how to do a medium steak and have it still juicy, not dried out like an old boot. So cheers. Okay, so the first thing I want to review is these new Oz Braai Fire Chef knives. We got these this week. It's not a full unboxing review. I just want to show you how you're going to get these through the post, but they come really packaged quite well. Let's open them up. Okay, so we've got two knives. We've got the chef's knife, which is an 8-inch knife, and then we've got the 7-inch butcher's cleaver. So starting off, take these off. So yeah, as you can see, these are handmade carbon steel knives. They've got really nice hardwood handles. They seem, they're full tang, nice and straight, and they are really well balanced for a knife like this. So yeah, really cool, super sharp, and a lot of people will tell you that a sharp knife is the safest knife because you're not hammering away trying to, cut stuff and it's difficult. A sharp knife will cut through it, and that makes it a really safe knife to use. Just keep your fingers out of the way. So yeah, so we're going to get into it. Not a full review, I'm just showing you what they look like. Really good quality, can't wait to use these. Very popular with some YouTubers like Harry from Fire to Fork. He's been using this knife for ages. Yeah, so super excited to get it. Let's get into it. Cheers. Okay, so the next product I just want to go through real quick before we start today's cook up is these new Tefal Ingenio pan set. Now you can pick these up here for Australia. I think we paid about $65, $69. Usually they're around 120, but you can definitely get some good bargains. I think we got them from Big W. They're French, and they're excellent made. Now the thing why these might be made for home, but I think why they're great for camping is the fact that the handle comes off, it's detachable. So you've got the 24 and the 28-inch pan, handle just snaps on, solid as a rock, but also super good for storage. So the thing for us is we've got the DOT camper, and the DOT's got a great kitchen on it, full size, almost as good at home. So we don't want to be tied down to using camping pots and pans, things like that. They're very compact in general. You can't get much in the frying pans. There's some great products out on the market. I think the Snow Peak frying pan has a detachable handle like that. Phil does a great video on it, reviewing those. I think Luke uses them a lot. But for me, they're just a bit small. So, with the three of us, we like a full-size pan for when we're cooking up, breakfast and things like that. So yeah, this is a great option. Again, just snaps on. Now the great thing about this 24-inch pan as well is this slides straight into my Kick-Ass travel oven. So you can use them as a big pan. So yeah, they do offer some great crossover features for camping, not just home. Again, gas or induction. You can use them in the oven at home. You can use them in your travel oven. Great item for camping. And this is what we're going to use for today's steak. So cheers. Okay, so let's get on with today's cook up. So we're going to show you how to cook a medium steak. Okay, so when we've got our steak, first thing we're going to do is make a nice sauce. We're going to put our steak in a sandwich today. So I'm going to make a nice mayonnaise and Dijon mustard dip just to put across the bread. Freshen it up, it's going to taste great. Let's get some mayonnaise. Big dollop of that. Dijon mustard. You want to put in about half of the amount you use for mayonnaise, so about 2 to 1. Now, let's just get these baby cucumbers in and just give it all a good mix together. Perfect. A little bit of black pepper. And that's it. That's our mayonnaise, Dijon mayonnaise done. Now for our steak today, we're going to put it into a sandwich, and I think the best bread you can use for a steak sandwich is a sourdough. The reason for that is it holds the juices really well, and it gives you a really nice solid, outside crust. So awesome bread to work with. So let's just cut this up and try and get some really nice big sections. Try and keep it even in its slice side. That's grand. Look at that, looks great. Okay, so for cooking up the steak for our sandwiches today, because it's just a quick lunch, we don't want to use a lot of charcoal. Doesn't need to be expensive, gidgey. You could cut charcoal. This can just be heat beads you get from Coles, because we're going to do it in a pan, so the smokiness out of the gidgey and things like that, it's not going to really get into the meat anyway this time. So yeah, don't waste your good stuff. This is a quick lunch. We just want a small amount of heat going into it, so we're going to use the Drifter Thai clay pot, and we're going to use the Drifter charcoal starter just to get our charcoals nice and hot. So they're about done. Let's get them out. Set that out. Okay, so that's looking excellent. Plenty of heat in there. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is what steak. If you're going to cook steak well done, it needs to be the right cut. The best cut for cooking well done steak is a Scotch fillet. Now the reason for that, as you can see here, Scotch fillet is a really fatty cut of steak. It comes from high up on the neck of the cow, which makes it nice for this sort of thing. You get this big plug. Now, as that fat renders down, it really helps keep the steak juicy because you're cooking it for longer, being a well done steak. So yeah, really important what cut you choose, and this is great for cooking longer. The other really important thing, guys, is take your steak out of the fridge. You need it to be, ambient temperature to your cooking environment. So take it out at least 10-15 minutes before, because especially when you're cooking a longer steak, you don't want it cold inside, or you're going to absolutely nuke the outside of your steak. The inside's not going to cook, so you want it to cook nice and even, and that means the temperature has to be just right. Needs to be ambient temperature, not chilled. Okay, so another really key thing I think is, you see lots of people make this mistake. I don't know, is it a mistake? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't like to oil my pan. I like to oil the meat. Now the reason I do that is because sometimes you haven't got some of these oils that have got a really high temperature burn. You don't want your oil to smoke. And if you oil your pan and get your pan hot, sometimes you'll start to burn the oil, and that can leave a funny taste on your meat. So if you oil the meat, I believe as soon as you put it in, the oil is cooking the meat and it's not just heating up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get some olive oil. I'm going to give it a bit of a splash. I'm no different to anyone else. Salt and pepper for seasoning. I also like to put in a bit of Montreal. Yeah, a bit of Montreal. We got that when we were over in Canada with a holiday with Andy's family over there, and it's a really great mix. Tastes awesome, I think, and I think every steak I've had since we've come back from Canada has had a bit of this on it. So yeah, so we're going to just massage that into your steak, Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, especially when you're camping. You know the deal, guys. Bit more olive oil. There's fat in those steaks, looks awesome. See that big plug of fat there? That's going to help keep that really good for us. Bit more pepper, and slipping all over the place. Bit of salt. Make sure you clean your salt and pepper pots up first. And a bit more of the Montreal seasoning. Just massage that in now. Work it in. These aren't particularly fat steaks, so you're not going to have to worry about searing the outside too much. So yeah, just a really good coverage. Let it mop up on the plate and let that sit there for a little bit longer. It's going to be ready to go on the coals real soon. Okay, so our coals are in our clay hot pot and we've got some great heat coming off. They've turned nice and white, so that tells us we're at the right temperature. Just looking through at the camera, I can see it all turning wavy, so we know we've got plenty of heat coming up. So let's get our new Tefal Ingenio pan. You can even take the handle off for now. How cool is that? Right, so we're going to wait for our hot spot to get nice and hot. We'll be able to feel that. A hot pan, you want to be able to put your hand over it. Once you can't do that for more than 3 or 4 seconds, you know it's there. Cool. Okay, so our pan's been on the clay pot now, so it should have plenty of heat in it. Ideally, if you were camping, you'd probably be using something like a cast iron skillet for this, something that's going to have a nice thick base and retain loads of heat. But we wanted to try out these new pans today, so we're going to give it a go. Right, ready to put our meat in. Now, anyone will tell you this, always an important thing. If you put meat into a pan, always push it away from you. You don't want no fat splashing back into your face. Now that sounds absolutely perfect. That's the sizzle we want when our steak goes into the pan. Now for the first 3 or 4 minutes, sorry, we're going to do this for about 3.5 minutes. For the first side, we're not going to touch it. You just want it to sit there. Now a lot of people will tell you turn your steaks every couple of minutes. I don't think you need to do that. If you're trying to get heat in, you can cook the first side through and then pretty even, and then turn it over for the same amount of time. For dishes like pork, you never want to turn your steak. Keep turning it. You just want to do it like if you're cooking it for 7 minutes, you do 6 minutes on one side, 1 minute on the other side. Looks really good. You can see there, not sticking at all. There's absolutely no reason to flip it just yet. The great thing about cooking on these clay pots without the grill mesh in place is you can tip the pan, and so if you're going to put some butter or something into your pan, it lets you build up like a little puddle in one side. Great for what we're going to do in a minute, and that is baste our steak on the second side. Yeah, that sear's coming on beautiful. Up to about 2 minutes in now, so we've got about another 1.5 minutes on this side before we flip it. I think that'll do for the first side, so let's put it on. Yeah, that was absolutely perfect. Okay, time to get busy, guys. Let's get our butter in. First off, let's dip our pan. Let's get that little well going so we can get our butter in there. Okay, so let's just whack a nice big knob of butter in. Probably more than we need. But our bread's going to soak that up. Okay, in with some thyme. Love that crackle. And again, we've got some garlic. Just leave it whole, don't need to peel it. Just put it in for flavour. Okay, so once that garlic is, that butter, is wound its way down, where we're going to start using our spoon and just start basting over that steak. All those juices back in there. Because we're doing a medium to well steak, this is really going to help keep the juices in, stop it drying out. Okay, so whilst our steak is just sat there nicely relaxing, we're going to just finish off our sandwich. So let's take our bread bases. First thing we're going to do is put some of that mustard we made up. It's absolutely awesome. Spread that nice and even across. Get a good coat on there. Don't be afraid to add plenty. We're going to do that to both sides. Start off with a layer of cherry tomatoes. And it just doesn't need to be neat. It needs to be good. So, certainly no Jamie Oliver, not making this for TV, making it to eat. Do the green stuff. Not a big fan of the root. I like the leaves, usually pull the root off. Or the stem, I should say. Not really root, is it? There we go, looking good. Let's move this out of the way. Ready to go on. Okay. Now let's take a look at our steak. Now for me, best thing to do with steak is try and cut it against the grain. You don't want to cut it with the grain because they're fibres. And if you cut against the grain, you can help break it up and just make it, again, a little bit more softer. So to me it looks like the grain is running across this way. So we're going to cut like this. So that you can see no pink, but that is so juicy. That's exactly how I like my steak. Sneaky taste. Oh, it's so juicy, it's unbelievable. Absolutely no need, that steak doesn't have to taste like an old boot. Wash our tops off. Just in There we go. Now look, I'm no professional chef. Dogs are having a butt. I'm no chef. This is the way I do it. Looks good to me. Cheers. Okay, thanks for watching. That's Dave's steak sandwich. Well done steak sandwich. Full of juice. Can't go wrong. Cheers. Give us a like on DOT.038. Hopefully we'll bring you lots more content. Watch Saxon and Andy getting out in the great outdoors. Cheers. Thanks a lot.